When Dexter New Blood came out, a lot of fans were excited to see Dexter Morgan return, but the show also brought back someone else, his teenage son, Harrison Morgan, but this time he was all grown up, and at first, fans didn't like him. Many thought that he was annoying, badly written, and just hard to care about. Part of the reason fans didn't connect with Harrison right away was because he wasn't just Michael C. Hall. People had spent years watching the show Dexter, so seeing someone new try to take the spotlight felt kind of strange.
Stranger.
Plus, this was the first time we ever really saw Harrison as a full character with actual dialogue, because before this he was just a baby or a background figure, so fans didn't really have a strong connection to him yet, and that made it harder to accept him right away. But in Dexter Resurrection, something changed. Harrison grew up, he became stronger, more focused, and more like his father in a good way. This show is when fans started to respect him, and some even began to like him more than they have ever expected. So what happened? How did Harrison go from one of the most disliked characters in the show to someone fans actually root for? So let's take a look at how Harrison Morgan became a better character in Dexter Resurrection. So in Dexter New Blood, Harrison shows up looking for his father after being apart for years, and at first this sounds pretty interesting. A father and son finally reconnect, but the way that the show handled it didn't work for a lot of people. Harrison was the character that was always angry, confused, and kind of just all over the place. One minute he wanted to be close to Dexter, and the next he was just pushing him away. He didn't really seem to know what he wanted. This back and forth behavior made him frustrating for the viewer to watch. He also acted out a lot, fighting in school, using drugs, and even hurting someone during wrestling. Now I know he was influenced by Kurt Caldwell to do that, but my point still remains. The show wanted us to believe that he had a quote-unquote dark passenger like Dexter, like right off the bat, but it didn't feel real. It felt rushed and forced. And in Resurrection, it actually feels like he now has a dark passenger. Now, because of New Blood, many fans couldn't connect with him. Instead of just seeing him as a deep character, people saw him as just a moody teen, and who likes a moody teen? His emotions didn't feel earned at all, and his choices didn't always make any sense. Kind of like how people saw Hayden Christensen's performance as Anakin Skywalker for the first time. But then over time, people began to like it.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
And when he shot Dexter at the end of New Blood, fans were divided. Some thought it made sense, and others were like, oh my god, this ending is terrible. Even though I didn't really like Harrison that much in New Blood, I could understand what the writers were trying to do with his character. Like, think about it. If you showed up at your father's doorstep after thinking he was dead for years, only to find out that he faked his death to run away from you, you'd be pretty moody too. Harrison's anger and confusion actually made some sense when you look at it from his point of view, but since this show is told from Dexter's POV, we only saw it in black and white. But Dexter Resurrection gave Harrison a second chance. Now that Dexter is alive again, we see a new version of Harrison Morgan. He's more mature, he thinks before he acts, and he still has pain and trauma, but he now handles it way better. Now, one big change is that Harrison follows Dexter's quote-unquote code, only hurting people who deserve it, and that makes a huge difference. Instead of being out of control, he is now focused, and he's not just this violent guy. He's using his anger to stop real evil, and just like how fans absolutely love when Dexter stops the bad guys, now Harrison does too. He's now like the true prodigy that fans were waiting for when we first saw him in New Blood. And he also faces tough situations and doesn't fall apart. When things get dangerous, he stays calm and strong. Just like in the scenes where Harrison talks to the NYPD homicide detectives, we see that he can handle tough situations on his own without his father to guide him. And that's a big reason why fans started to respect this character more. He proves he's not just weak or clueless, that he can actually think for himself and stay calm under pressure. And when Batista shows up asking questions as well about Dexter specifically, Harrison doesn't throw his dad under the bus, even though he easily could have. After all, in his mind at this point right here, he thinks that Dexter is dead, and before that he thought Dexter abandoned him. But instead of turning against him, Harrison protects his father's legacy. He shows leadership and bravery, just like Dexter once did. And this is why more people like Harrison Morgan. And this balance between strength and emotion makes him more relatable and more likable, which is literally how you get an audience to like a character, through relatability. And this this is something that New Blood Harrison literally never had. And a big reason for this dramatic change is simply just better writing. In New Blood, Harrison often felt like a tool for the plot, like a way to create drama or push Dexter into tough situations, and he didn't fully feel developed. Instead of acting like a real teenager with complex thoughts and feelings, he came off as this unpredictable and whiny and hard to connect with character, and that's really the opposite of how you make a good character. It's like the writers were using him to move the story forward in New Blood and give Dexter an ending, and they didn't really know what to do with Harrison at all. But then in Dexter Resurrection, this completely changes for the better. Harrison finally feels like a real person and not just a background character or a plot device. The writers take their time to explore who he is deep down, and we learn about what he's thinking, what scares him, and what he hopes for in the future. He isn't just reacting to the world around him, he's making his own choices now. He's deciding who he wants to be. His relationship with Dexter is also written with more care. In New Blood, most of their interactions were, full of tension, yelling, or silence, and there wasn't really much trust between them. Now in Resurrection, since I'm only recording this on episode 4, even though they haven't even met yet, they're low-key developing better than they even did in New Blood, and that says a lot because they literally haven't even met each other yet, which actually says a lot. And another important part of Harrison's growth is how the show gives him space to figure out his own path. He's not just outright copying Dexter's life aside from his kill ritual, but he's learning from his father's mistakes while still trying to use the code to do good. And that's what makes his growth feel so real. He's trying to be better and trying to be his own person. So why did fans change their opinion of Harrison? Well, because he earned it. In Resurrection, Harrison stops acting like a confused and emotional kid. Instead, he starts acting like a young man who's been through a lot, but still wants to do the right thing. He doesn't fall apart when things get hard, and he doesn't whine or run away. He steps up, he learns from his past, faces challenges head on, and does what needs to be done, even when it's difficult. And fans respect that kind of growth. We like seeing characters who can change over time in a way that feels real. Now, Harrison's development doesn't happen all at once, and it's not perfect at all, but that's what makes it believable. And by the time Resurrection really gets along, it becomes clear that Harrison isn't just Dexter's son anymore. He's his own person with his own story. And let's be honest, part of why so many fans love Dexter in the first place was because of his code. He didn't just kill for fun or power, he had a system to make sure the people he targeted actually deserved it, and that idea made Dexter different from your average serial killer. And Harrison following his own version of the code shows that he understands something deeper. He knows that killing is wrong, but he also sees that sometimes the world is full of evil people who don't get punished the way they should. And like his father, he walks a dangerous line, but he's trying to do it with purpose. He's not just copying Dexter, he's trying to improve on what Dexter already started. And that's what really earned fans' respect. Harrison grew into a character who isn't just part of Dexter's legacy, he's building his own. And also, I just kind of want to put this out there, with the direction that the character Harrison is going in, he actually might be the center of attention in the upcoming seasons, because as we all know, Michael C. Hall is getting a little bit old, which is just life, it just happens. I'm not trying to be rude, but since they want to do more seasons, and Dexter might, die, who knows? And if the character Harrison actually receives really good feedback off this season, I'm just putting this out there, he might be, just might be, the center of attention. So Harrison Morgan went from being one of the most disliked characters in Dexter New Blood to one of the most interesting characters in Dexter Resurrection. He's no longer a kid with just problems, he's a character with purpose. And most of all, he reminds us that anyone, and I mean anyone, even a character fans once hated, can change for the better.